And we are back with our final conversation for this morning. And as we said, we have for this conversation Mr. Emil Bradley, the father of Laddie Gillett,
Step or
Morning.
guardian,
Guardian.
as well as Demmy Williams, who is the director of Justice for Laddie Foundation. And we're here this morning to talk about the Justice for Laddie Foundation. For those who may not be familiar with the foundation, and I know that a lot of Belizeans are aware, but for those who may not be familiar with the foundation, let's talk about why the foundation was established and its vision.
Right. So the foundation was established on the heels of this tragedy that struck our nation. And ultimately, it is to get justice for Laddie, whatever justice means for the family. But it's also to ensure that it's justice for everyone. Justice for all the Laddies, as we say it, because we never want this to happen to another family. No parent should have to bury their child, and especially at the hands of someone who was charged to protect the community. So we want to ensure that these things never happen again. The first goal, of course, is to ensure that justice is served properly and that the punishment fits the crime. And we would like to see that for the sake of Laddie and the family, but also to ensure that it never happens again.
Mr. Bradley, just to bring you into the conversation as we get it going, how has the family been doing? How have you guys been?
Well, it's been rough. I mean, especially for my little son. I mean, who grew up with Laddie. Seeing him sometime looking at the tomb, he remembers and he would say, Laddie, where is Laddie? Is he coming back? You know, but we're trying to be there for him, for others. I mean, we really appreciate the support that we get from other people. And like Demmy said, not only for Laddie, but we would want to do this for others because I just think it's time now to put a stop to the wrongdoings, especially by law enforcement officers, you know. So this is just for us, this is a starting point, and for others. So this is just where we're starting. Let me be careful with my words. You know, with time, a lot of people ask, you guys are quiet, you're taking it cool. It's not that. We're just trying to give the system a break and to see what the end result will be. You know, like Demmy mentioned earlier, we would like to see a fair conviction.
Fair
Whatever is being put on him after he's being convicted, if he's being convicted enough for the crime that he has committed. It might seem hard, but we need to do this. We need to start at some point. We need to set an example for other police officers to don't sit down, oh, I could abuse my authority or my power that I have, and nothing will be done. We want to put them in a position that they feel good in doing the right things, and on the side, boy, if I slip up, you know what? The same thing we catch Kareem, we catch we. Right?
Holding themselves and each other accountable as well.
Exactly. So this is where the group come together. We're coming together to hold the people responsible who could make the changes for these things not to occur again, for them to do what they need to do.
How closely have you guys been following the investigation process? Have you been privy to information in terms of what investigations have yielded? And I have to ask if you're satisfied.
Well, like I said, we're just going into trial. We're starting, sorry, and if I could just make mention to especially people, the supporters in Dangriga who was supposed to attend on the 23rd. The case is being adjourned now up until the 27th. So it won't be on the 23rd, it will be on the 27th. Okay? We're waiting for the trial, and then we will see where we'll move from there. We don't want to get angry and stir up a lot of things, and we don't even know where the investigation is leading to. You know?
Some people would say that we're way past that. You know, we were supposed to be angry a long time ago. How does this foundation move in trying to educate the public more about how we act and how we approach these kinds of, you know, gut-wrenching tragedies, and how can we be a united front for this kind of
Right. I like that question.
Yeah.
First, the foundation spends a lot of time spreading awareness, not just about Laddie, but about other cases that have come up with persons who've met similar fates at the hands of police officers. So there's a justiceforladdie.com where we blog about these things. We share these blogs on our social media. We share content on our social media. Social media has become the arm of communication for us, and it's how we get feedback from the community as well. In fact, through social media, we were able to connect with several youth delegations, and now we have a Youth for Change symposium that we're hosting this Saturday in Belize City at the Radisson. Now, it was invitation only because ultimately we want to ensure that we stick to protocols. COVID is still real, and also that we have persons who could be impactful contributors to the conversation. And that's where awareness moves into action, because what the foundation has proposed is what we call Laddie's Law. And those are points that we've put forward. You could go on the website and you could see Laddie's Law there. We put forward points that we want the government to implement to ensure that this doesn't happen. If it should ever happen, these are the measures that we think as a community should be taken to ensure that it is fair, transparent, and all parties are held accountable for their participation in whatever happened, no? So we want to hear what the youth delegations and the NGO community, and we also invited the police department, but they were unable to attend. We wanted all these contributors to vet what we've proposed and to see, like, how do you feel about these points that we've put forward? Do you have any additions? Is there anything that you would like to see change? Because, you know, you've been in an area of expertise where that might not be so practical, and maybe this would work instead. It's a collaborative community effort because it's a matter that affects the community, Belize at large.
So how do we expect those conversations on Saturday to play out? I would imagine those invited, that there was an intentional decision-making process in terms of
who to invite?
Well,
to be honest, initially it was just about getting youth groups in. So it was a lot of networking, diving into the DMs. You know, once you know one youth leader, you might find your way through all. And then looking at the NGO community and groups that you know have policies that they've sat on, that they've assisted in writing for human rights or the protection of families and children. So it became very obvious at that point who would be great contributors to the conversation, and these invitations were sent to all. And again, including the police department, because if we want to see change, we need to have the persons who could directly put that change forward a part of the conversation. And we've seen so far that there are things that they have implemented in writing, which are steps forward that, you know, was brought about by public pressure. So we have this new police training class. They have an entire human rights curriculum that they're issuing out. Minister Musa shared that they had done that with us. We're still trying to obtain a copy of that curriculum, but we were told that it's something that they would share with all of their officers. And we were also ensured that it's something that they plan on doing refresher courses, because if you don't use it, you will lose it, type of thing. And it's so vital when you're policing, especially in urban areas, you know, when you have a diverse set of people from all walks of life. So I think that it would be great to have these refresher courses. But yeah, we wanted them to be a part of the conversation. We want anybody who is in a position of change to this situation to be a part of the conversation, because ultimately, it's not a witch hunt against the police department, you know. It's not the Justice for Laddie Foundation versus the government of Belize and its police department. It's citizens standing up against bad policing. And anybody who upholds the law within the police department, within the government, should also want to take a stand against bad policing, because they wear a uniform, they swear an oath, they make commitments to this community, and they're not doing it, they're not being careful about it. Accountability needs to be held.
Notwithstanding whatever happens in the trial that is to come, but we've seen past situations. For example, the Jasmine Alert was implemented because of such a heinous crime, but we're not seeing it being utilized the way we would want. So then how does the Justice for Laddie Foundation then come into making sure that these steps are being enforced?
That's one of the questions we want to answer this Saturday, because we might have our ideas that we think would be great, but the community might see it from a different perspective. It's creating that safe space for the youth to use their voice. We make up 70% of the population. Easy. Youth have the power in this country. You come for one, you come for all.
Yeah.
And that's why Justice for Laddie is not just a foundation. It's not just a family who experienced a terrible tragedy. It's a movement now. It's youth coming together to make change, hence the Youth for Change Symposium.
Mr. Bradley, when you see situations like the unfortunate triple homicide in Belmopan that occurred only 2 to 3 weeks ago, does it solidify your family's call for justice for Laddie and other persons that have met a similar fate?
The thing, seeing all these irregularities, I mean, I don't want to go in depth. I mean, I don't want to convict him. He will have his time to be convicted. I mean, in this case, you're talking about the accused, who is Elmerna, right? I wouldn't want to say and said the police and said did that. At this point in time, I don't know. It's just what we're hearing, so
It's
I wouldn't want to go
allegedly.
again. But it's so awful. I mean, for the girl, for the little child. I mean, without a mother, without a father, you know. So these are some of the things that we would want to make change. When we say we, it's not only us, the family, it's we Belize and the people who are victims and who want to make a change and see things get done the proper way. So we're not only we, like I keep saying, it's not only Laddie, it's for all the others, for that's his major, for the family. So it's not us, but we need to start somewhere. We need to start and show the people that we're serious and we really want to make a change
Right.
for Belize. And how will we do that? Making an example out of Karim.
What are some of the changes, if you've discussed among the foundation, that you guys would like to see take place within the department to ensure that there isn't a reoccurrence of what happened with Laddie, with Oak, with Major, and we've seen several other cases come up?
Well, we can't say, I mean, like everybody else, we're human, sometimes we just flip. So we can't say we'll stop, the police department will stop completely, you know, but we want to see more effort on their part. I mean, like training, like I said, like
Training.
Demmy mentioned earlier with the human rights, which is something very useful, the use of power that they have. So I would not sit here and just condemn the government in power right now. I mean, I applaud them for the effort that they're trying to do. But like you made mention earlier with Jasmine Law, it's something, and this is the reason why the foundation is here, to make sure that, you know, don't stop here. Okay, it will continue on, and we will fight until it's over, until we get justice, and for other people not to experience what we've experienced.
The notion of people forget, people move on, the next crime happens.
Right.
I know that you all have done initiatives, for example, putting posters up, making sure that we see them,
Billboards,
billboards, and so on. And I know that the Facebook page is very, very active. But what, and apart from the conference that is taking place on Saturday, what other initiatives and what other strides do you think Belizeans need so that we remember?
Well, for Laddie one, we will remember because it's something that we will continue on. You know, like you said, with time we tend to forget. But this is something that we cannot forget, and we have to bear in mind this is not only about Laddie, it's about Belize. It's not only about Laddie. Yes, his name is being called, but it's about Belize and the injustices. To all the people who suffered, you know, who are victims of these violence, you know, and wrongdoings. But I hope from the police department that we will be seeing more changes. Like I said, I cannot say at this time where the investigation is going. The trial will be on the 27th, and we'll hear further from there where we're going. We'll see what that looks like. So for now, the family, what we are doing is just through the foundation and still keep the fire burning. We don't want to incite violence or anything. Our action will determine after everything is finished.
There's a rippling effect to a situation like in the case of Laddie, because Laddie had a peer group.
Yeah.
Laddie had influence, and as a teenager, there's a lot of teenagers that he hung around that is fully abreast with the circumstances surrounding his demise. And there's this rippling effect or generational effect where many of his peers may begin to look at police officers with this negative light. That, you know what? It's the police
gonna be me
department
next, yeah.
that caused the demise of my friend, my best friend, my brother, my cousin. So how do we address that now to through the Laddie Foundation, perhaps to kind of educate the youths that have been impacted by this about having a balanced approach to the police department?
Well, a lot has to do with how we as a family react to the situation. Like I said, if we're really, really serious about changes, if the government really serious about changing and want to show the people that they change, there are certain things that they need to get done. One, for this instance right here, I mean, some of the youth, you know them from village, they are afraid to go out because the people they're expecting to protect them, their friend, become victim of that same department in our group. So by showing them that we're not just leaving it there, and it's not the whole entire police department,
Just
but
bad
it's only
policing.
one person.
Or just
Okay.
bad policing in general.
Yeah.
It's not about being afraid. It's not striking down the police department. It's striking down bad policing. And I see that where I come from in Belize City, you see it in areas that have high concentration of crime. The communities have a very negative relationship with the police officers because these generalizations come forward, and it's a lot of it has to do on both sides. They have a misconception, but nothing was done to correct that misconception. So the foundation, we could put things forward, but ultimately we would need the police department to join us. Not saying that they haven't, but to join the efforts in correcting these misdoings so that people know that they're serious about it, that it's not something that they have as a precedent in their department, that it will be just a slap on the wrist and we'll move on, which is exactly why one of the points for Justice for Laddie is not a plea to a lesser charge. There is a reality that Mr. Martinez could plead out his manslaughter charge to just being manslaughter by negligence. And that would be the go-to for them to do. And that carries only a fine, less than $10,000. So we're going to say a human life, a young life at that, is worth less than $10,000. This is the perfect opportunity for the police department to show Belize that we know a stand for this, for the state to say, no, we are going to hold this person accountable. We're going to set the precedent. And it will allow communities who feel jaded by the system to say, oh, do you mean to tell me we could actually get some form of justice for this? So the ball is in their court in how they decide to play that out. It was public pressure that made them finally dismiss him. Because normally they're just interdiction and, we move on type of thing. And even his dismissal, he challenged. Even that. So it's been a landmark case since the day one with it. Belize has been watching ultimately because you're writing history.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about the foundation is that what you're advocating for and the community you're building builds a certain sense of assurance or confidence among I'm thinking about the youths, right? To say that if I'm to meet the same fate, God forbid,
Indeed.
or if I'm to, or perhaps it provides a sense of security to say that I have a community behind me, developed on the foundation that the Gillett Foundation built. I have a community behind me that will see to it that if I'm to have a confrontation or a conflict with a rogue cop, that you have a foundation like this that will speak out for me, that will back me up. and ensure that my case does not just go swept under the rug or
Exactly.
overlooked.
And that's something that we definitely want to be the conversation even after the trial. This is about creating a legacy in Laddie's name and setting precedents in his honor. You know, something has to come out of this. And some of the legacy things that the foundation has done also, like there's a park in Placencia that a memorial park was dedicated for Laddie. If you go to St. Andrew's Primary School in San Ignacio, there's an entire mural on the playground that young children, as they're playing, they could see this and they could know that, hey, this is Laddie Gillett, this is what happened, and then they could fill in the blanks after that, and this is what came of it. And this is something that we could feel safe as children, knowing that if anybody tried to do something like this to us, that they will be held accountable, and officers know and everybody know, well, we can't just get away with this.
So,
Well, sorry, as we're wrapping up, because I wish we could stay here longer and have this discussion. Saturday is the youth conference.
The Youth for Change Symposium.
And then Youth for Change Symposium.
Yes.
And the
trial
trial
begins
is the
next
27th.
27th.
Friday.
Yes.
That's Friday?
That's a Friday.
That's a Friday.
In Dangriga.
In
In
Dangriga.
Dangriga.
And I understand that there's already support being garnered behind that for persons to come out and show support. You want to make that public? Is that something?
Well, yesterday the talk show I made mention of it, but like I said, we welcome people. We really appreciate the support that we've been getting from the Belizeans. We welcome people who are close by in Dangriga to come out and join us and support us. You know, we're not into violence. We just want to show that we're not happy with what is happening and we're really serious about making some changes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Mr.
both so
Brasman.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you all
much.
as well.
All the
Demmy,
best with the
we will be
work
watching.
you're doing.
We will be
Yeah,
watching
of course.
closely. So
Right.
you could rest assured that there is friends in the media for this.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
And with that, we're going to take our final break. We'll be back for wrap up. Stay tuned.